Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another week of Shiggles. I am that guy Rickster,
Hi, Darren here, guys.
and before we get into the topics, how was your week?
My week was pretty good. I haven't really been having much complaints, to be honest, when it comes to my week, because I've just set my life in this particular way where just certain things I'm just not dealing with. But my week was it? How about yours?
I think it's pretty much the same for me. Like there hasn't been much really going on, especially since this week I had I think 3 days off or something like that. So I didn't really venture outside much. I just stayed inside, pretty much just took time to myself. So not much really happened. Honestly, the week ran off very quickly as well. Like it moved by so quickly, which I wanted to slow down, and you know why I might want it to slow down, but it just seems to be moving very fast and it needs to stop. But otherwise, it was a good week.
Boring but peaceful. That's always good.
Yes. And I don't mind
Always.
that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. But let's get into the topics for this week. Someone added X that we have about ourselves. Do you want to jump in with that one?
Everyone have icks, and before you come here with your perfectionist bullshit, like every single person have icks. Like certain, it's not. I'm not talking about physical things, but things that we do that we wish we didn't do or we weren't like that. So for
So,
context,
one
yes, I'm
sec.
throwing shade at
Why
you
are you going to throw shade at me
because you're
with
acting
all
like
that?
you're perfect, you're flawless, you're a model, you
But
look like
clearly that
mentally
was a
tough.
joke.
I don't know.
Clearly it was a joke. I
I know
don't.
it's a joke, but I mean, I wanted to
So
get under your skin because, like,
there's no
what the hell
need
you
for
mean?
you to bring outside conversations onto the podcast that happened like literally 2 minutes before we
This is an
started
inside
recording.
conversation. It's about the podcast we have
Don't
about
get
yourself.
this, but all right.
So,
Context.
for context, one of the icks I have about myself is, and I do not know why I'm wired like this. Um, I'm a very forgiving person. No, there are some times where people just do not deserve forgiveness. Um, and I say this to say that the ick I have about myself is that you will do me something like something so bad, so traumatic, like you brought me through the fire. And if you give me enough time away from you and the situation, months, years pass by, like for me, it's like my brain kind of like forget about it.
Yeah.
Um, and it's just like I'm ready to like, you know, have some sort of conversation or maybe be friends again or whatever position or relations you had in my life. No, I wish I wasn't like that because sometimes also, as I said like last week, you can forgive people but not necessarily like want to like reach out or be in
Forget.
contact or like have them in your life again. And I absolutely hate that about myself. Like if you give me enough time, I absolutely forget about it completely. I hate that. I hate that
Why
so
though?
much.
Because I find for myself something I have something similar where I tend to move on very quickly from things,
Same.
and it's I don't think it's an ick to me because let's
Moving
say for
on.
instance there was a couple months ago um I was on the phone with my parents, and me and my dad got into like a shouting match, and I literally like ended the call on him. Like I was pissed, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I went to bed, I slept, and then I woke up, and it was my mom, of course, trying to be the peacekeeper. She calls me and it's like, oh, he's feeling all sad and depressed and whatever. So I called him, but I'm like, snap out of it, bitch. It's not that serious. I'm not a child anymore. So of course I'm going to have my own opinions. I'm not going to agree with you. But it was literally we just moved on. Like nothing, it's not that it never happened, but I was over it. So I'm like, let's just move on. And that happens with like friends of mine. Like we'll have disagreements and I'm just like, let's just move on.
No, but you see, for me, is it's not about moving on, because I move on, I get over from things really quickly, and then
Yeah.
this comes at a cost where you go through so much shit. It's just like, okay, all right, I don't really have time for this. Like, let's move on. But for me, it's not about moving on. It's just about, sometimes, like when I make decisions, especially decisions of not ever wanting to deal with someone again, like it's pretty much you've drove me to that particular point. So I don't like the feeling of when years go by and like I'm these thoughts of reaching out or like I want my decisions to be absolute final until the day I die. Because, and this sounds kind of harsh, but
But
I
that's just
mean,
not who you are.
I know, and I think a lot of times I when I go back and like I sit down and ask myself like why do I operate certain ways? I think I'm like a model of my grandma. Um because that's the way she was. Like people are like, "Oh, stop being modest, stop being modest." I don't really know how to stop being modest because that's how my grandma was too, and that's
That's
like
just how
how
you were raised.
that's what I saw, and that's kind of like, so modesty, forgiveness, them little things. I realize a lot of them traits like I kind of pick up from her, from
Yeah.
growing up around her. But some of these things are things I just not want to think about. I want to like be able to stand on certain things and not have certain feelings. And I'm not talking about like missing people or missing certain things or whatever. Sometimes certain things, and I just want to like absolutely just let it go and forget about it and not think about, because the reason why it's a ick for
Reconnecting.
me is because I've done the reconnecting in the past, and either similar situations happen again in the future, or
Mm-hmm.
just certain things that let me look like, yeah, this is exactly why I should have not done that. That's the reason why I have an issue with that.
Okay.
But
I can see that.
you know,
All
the
right.
other one, the other one I have is I'm really mean when I'm overstimulated.
In
I'm
what
very,
way?
I'm very mean. Meaning like if there's just too
I,
much going on and I'm trapped
okay.
in some particular situation or whatever, and people just won't leave me alone. I'm very, very, very mean. Like I'm very mean.
Even
And this
more
is
than
when
you
people,
usually are.
no, I'm not mean. I'm sarcastic.
Hmm.
In
Okay.
regular everyday life, I'm sarcastic. I am not mean. When I'm actually mean, I mean I'm actually trying to actively hurt your feelings. Like I just want to be like left alone.
But is that being mean, or are you just wanting to be by yourself and have your own space?
Yeah, but I mean, people really and truly just don't get it. And like you be telling them like, hey, or you giving them the signs like I'm not talking, I'm like I just want to be by
Yeah.
myself, and people just aren't reading the room, you know. And then it brings out a version of myself that I don't like. So I'm
Yeah.
trying to save you, and then you're not trying to be saved. And then when I unleash the dragon on you, and then after I calm down, I'm like, damn, why did you make me have to really like, do that? Like,
Yeah.
sort of thing.
The
So
only the only thing that's coming to mind for me personally with that is I've noticed a thing with me recently where, like, let's say I'm talking to someone, like getting to know them. Ugh. Is that I don't know how to communicate how I'm feeling or what I want. But I find that I don't necessarily want to hurt the person's feelings. So I will go along just to get along. And then I'm
yeah, I'm
irritated.
not doing that.
No, no, but that's the thing. I never used to be like that. I don't know when this started. Like before, years ago, if I'm not with it, I'm just not with it. I'm going to tell you. But like if I care for the person, right? And like I just don't know how to just break the news to you that I just don't want to do this anymore. So I kind of like draw it out a bit, I guess. Not that I'm stringing you along, but I guess it could be considered stringing them along. But it just gets to a point where like you see text messages coming in and you're just like, oh God. But you don't I just I'm just not like saying it actively. And I should probably go back to how I was, where I would just like come out and just say it. I should probably do that. But here we are today, I guess.
I've learned so much, and one of the icks I had about myself, like in the past, I've kind of like completely removed that. Again, it comes with how I was raised to be, very giving, very understanding, whatever, like even when you're down in the mud, still whatever. That has come like with the cost of my mental when it comes to people. And it's something that I used to do a lot, and I'm like, you have got to change this. You have got to stop like overextending yourself like that.
Yeah.
Even when you can. Um, because in the long run or in the future when it comes back around to you and then like it's not reciprocated, you're gonna get like mad, like super mad as hell. So it was something I hated so much about myself, so I worked on it so much so I give enough, or I start matching exactly like what I'm given. um and that has helped me so much. That
Oh, yeah,
has
I've been doing that
absolutely
for
helped
years. I
me.
match energies all the
That
time.
has absolutely helped me
All the
so
freaking
much.
time.
When it comes to people, because people are like super weird, and like you do so much sometimes and then you just realize that people just don't think about you the same or hold you in
Mm-hmm.
the same regard that you think about them. um
Like if I find out that somebody I'm supposedly close to, if I realize I'm always the one reaching out, always checking in, and all these things, and you never initiate conversations, I eventually just stop. And then you
Same.
get the text message, oh, why haven't I heard from you? How long you've changed? No, I just realized I'm the one who's always reaching out, so I stopped.
Hmm.
Years ago, there was this dude who said I was his best friend, and I think it was like 2 years in a row or something. He just completely forgot my birthday. Not that it's like a big thing, because I'm
Oh,
not.
a
No, no.
friend.
Yeah, he said
Oh
he
no,
was my
it's a
best
big thing,
friend.
I'm sorry.
No, but here's the thing.
Mm-mm, no, I'm sorry,
No, no,
that's a
no.
big
Let
thing.
me finish talk.
Mm-mm.
No, birthdays for me aren't haven't really been like a huge thing all the time. But I realize, like in 2 years in a row, because his birthday is after mine. Mine is November, his is December. But I would always say happy birthday, blah blah blah. And I remember the third year, um, we were going out somewhere, and I was like really quiet, and they're like, "What's wrong?" I was like, "What day is it, sir?" And he's like, "What do you mean? Like, nothing is happening today? Nothing special?" And it was somebody else who was in the back of the fucking car who I didn't think I was that close to this person. Was like, today's his birthday. And my supposed was like, Ross, today your birthday, blah, blah, blah. And like, yep, yes, it is. So
um
after that, I realized I just stepped back and I just never initiated any birthday conversations with him ever again.
I'm kind of sidetracking. I had to learn that very, very painful lesson like a lot of times. And I hate that I have to think like this. And I think I've said this to you before. Like, people just don't see you as important a lot of times as you
Yeah,
see them. And it's kind of very difficult sometimes to open like the vault to understand how much this person actually like values you or stuff like that. And I saw this video on TikTok the other day that says, the biggest problem that I have is that I love myself a lot. I fuck with myself a lot, but I'm always concerned and not too sure if the people around me that I fuck with just as much have that same energy back to me. And I'm like,
that's true.
yeah, it's something I had to learn, and it's very hard to really get into like another person's mind and perception of you to see if you're that important to them. And when
Hmm.
situation comes up that really shows you what level you're really on, sometimes it can be a little bit of a slap in the face, because you're like, oh my god, I have you up here, and damn, you have me all the way down here.
Yeah.
And that's something I had to work on too. Um,
Oh, I had to learn that very quickly over the years. Very quickly.
and it's kind of sad. The reason why it's sad is a lot of times these same people, they say all of these things. Oh, you're my best friend. We're best friends
Mm-hmm.
with this, with that. They say all the things that gives you that idea,
Yep.
that you're that to them. But when it comes to the real, like, situations where they're supposed to actually now be that person, you're kind of realizing that the actions with the words aren't the same thing, and it's just
They don't
like,
match up.
yeah.
So this
um
best friend thing, I don't take it lightly anymore because there are two persons in my life already who I've said, "Oh, best friend, blah blah blah," and both of them just stopped talking one day. Haven't
and I
heard from
don't
them in
and
years.
I don't think I ever want that back again, because with
Yeah,
the whole best friend thing, um I've noticed, and this is coming, so I can't really say, like, I was a kid or whatever, because this has happened like in my childhood years and like in my
mm-hmm.
adult years. And the constant thing for me when it comes to that is that, whenever the real situation hit in my life, when I definitely would have needed that friend the most, they vanished.
They're nowhere
So
to be found.
I think at this particular stage of my life, I don't want anyone to even put forward that we're best friend anymore, because I'm just so
Yeah,
traumatized by that entire, it's just the entire thing. And this is the other ick I have again when I say I just can't let things go. I be still thinking about these people no matter how far,
right.
because I held these people in such high regards. Like, we're friends. I think about them highly, like, so it's
Literally
sad.
every now and then they pop in my
Every
head. I was
now
like,
and
"Oh,
then
I
they
wonder
pop in
what
my
they're up
head,
to."
and I'm like, yeah, how are their life right now? Like, I'm living the life or things that we talked about. I wish they could see or be experiencing these things with me, and it's sad, and it's something I hate that. But
Yeah.
to
But the
finish
funny
that
thing,
thing,
one of them, because when stuff like that happen, when they just get up one day and just not talk to you, you're like, "Oh, did I do something wrong or blah blah blah?" And you start wondering what was it about you. But then I found out one of them, um, that's something that he does. Like every 6 months or a couple of years, he just excommunicates people in his lives and just disappear, and then he just resurfaces. And this was the second time he has done it with me. The first time um he just disappeared, and another mutual friend of ours, his mom passed, and then that friend just mentioned, like, "Oh my gosh, did you hear what happened?" And then it was like nothing happened. I'm like, this is weird. So I went along because of course this is somebody I'm close to, so of course I'm going to like enjoy the conversation and keep it going. But then he did it a second time and we haven't spoken since. And then the other one decided that he had an epiphany and went through a life change and literally just blocked everybody in his life. And I'm like, but I thought I was your best friend. At least some warning, say something. But it is what it is. Life moves on. We're still alive.
and
That's the
that's the
important
thing,
thing.
and this applies to not just friendship. This applies to everything, right? And I saw something once, like years ago, that once you truly felt some particular way about someone, whether you love them or whatever feelings you have, even if you no longer communicate with that person, if you genuinely liked or loved that person that much, you're always gonna think about them. If
Yes, you
there really
are.
was that friend to you, you're always gonna think about them. And it's a painful thing to live with for the rest of your life, because
It
it's just
is.
like, we no longer exist in the same, um
Sphere.
universe. And it's like, the longer time or the more time goes by, really, really, really hard to, like,
Yeah. But then eventually you get to a point, and this is the last thing I'm going to say about this before we move on. Eventually you get to a point where you're just like, even if they should come back and try to rekindle the friendship, I don't want, we're never going to be the same.
because
It's just
I've
going to be
lived so
cordial.
many
"Oh, hi,
lives
how
since
are
then.
you?" That's it. It's
I've
not
lived
going to be the
so many
same.
lives since then, so it's not going to be the
Yeah,
same.
it's really not, because too much time has passed and too much has happened within that time. And I don't know where you are in your life, but I'm at a different place than where we were years ago. So
And
it's
you
just
kind
not
of
going to be the
also
same.
taught me to live without you,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm now comfortable in that sense where even though I do miss you or stuff like that, I'm so comfortable in that sense where I've been living my life without you. It's really hard for me to say because I'm now going to think that, you know, our story ended unfortunately, and you have nothing to add to my story at this particular
Yeah.
point because like I left you a couple chapters ago and like the story progressed without you.
And that's the sad thing, but as I said, life goes
Unfortunately.
on.
But yeah,
But anyway,
on
let's switch
another note.
gears. That was
Well, I think
somewhere.
we went off on a tandem there.
Oh yeah, we did. So
But
the other
once,
thing, what? Go ahead.
no, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to change topics. Were you going to say something else?
Yeah, the same. Change the topic.
Okay.
Oh,
So I added this to the docket. Would you date someone who's currently in prison? And I'm not talking somebody who is in prison for like money laundering or check fraud or white collar crimes. I'm talking about somebody who is on like death row. Would you date somebody who is in prison for life for like killing
so
someone?
what are the conditions for this? I knew this person before, or I'm just a fan and I reached out to them and want to be
You're
friends.
just a fan and you reach out to
Oh,
them.
absolutely not. Like,
The fuck
there's a
yes, I
lot.
would not either.
There's a lot of men outside. Like,
I
why
don't
would
get
I?
it.
Why would I want to restrict my life to someone that's behind bars, who more than likely will never get out, or even if they do get out, prison changes people.
I
A
don't
lot of
get
different
it.
things and different environment change people, but I think that's one the most that will definitely change a person. It's like, and this is the best way to describe it. It's like you're living in society, but you're also not living it. You're not experiencing society. So society is progressing and moving along without you. You're
Yeah.
trapped in wherever you left society at when you got locked up. So when you come out, if you do get the chance to come out, you're gonna be a completely different person. And say this is not like a year or two, okay, that's a short time, but like 10, 20, what the hell would I be doing with you?
Especially if I didn't know you before you went into prison.
Exactly.
How can
No,
you form a connection? Because
with
as
someone that
humans, we need physical contact at some point. So I'm
we definitely
wondering,
do.
how do
And
you build that connection with this person? Because I don't get it. I really don't. And you
and I
see
tell
these things all the time. Because I remember, because I watch a lot of these like documentaries about like the Ted Bundys and Jeffrey Dahmers and stuff like that.
mhm.
And you look at these women or men who show up to their trials. Oh my gosh, he's just so hot. I would date him. I would be, and I'm like, are you forgetting what they're on trial for? I don't understand. I don't get
No,
this.
no, I can understand the part saying like he's attractive, but I'm not like going to try to, see if I can like go ahead and date this person. Like, absolutely
Right?
not. That should just not gonna work for me.
Trying to
Um,
play Captain Save a Hole like you think you can change them.
but the thing that I want to say too is that, like, say for example, like I knew you before. I knew you before outside and like we're dating or whatever thing we had, and then you went in. That probably might be a different case for me because I don't know. One thing I can say is that when you genuinely have feelings for people, you do things that you wouldn't normally do. So I don't want to knock it to say, oh, even if I was with this person before and da, da, da. I don't want to. I wouldn't. I don't want to say that because you truly act way differently
But you
when you're
see, that's
genuinely into
different.
someone.
At least you knew them before they went in. I'm talking about the people who have never met these people before.
Mm-mm.
But then
That
they're
would
so
absolutely not
obsessed
work
with
for me
them, and then eventually they write to them, and then they're like, "Oh, we're together now." How did that work? I don't
because
get
I'm such
that.
a physical person. I have to be able to see you, touch you, and hang out a lot,
And
like
we've
a
said this
lot, lot, lot,
before. We're
like a
not buying a
lot.
pussy in a bag. Like you need to experience certain things before you tie yourself to people.
That is so real too. That is absolutely so real. But um I don't really make excuses for people, but one thing I've learned throughout this life is that People are attracted to different things. People are into different things. And there's a whole society or a whole aspect of society that's out there that um are into people who are incarcerated. Maybe it's a
Oh
fetish for
yeah,
them. Maybe it's like a romance telenova, whatever you call right off into the sunset sort of situation for them. Maybe it find them like, it makes them the person more like attractive. There are all of these things that I collectively look at when I see situations like that. Not me though, but I'm sure it's out there. Um,
for someone.
and then there
And
are
that's
just
how a lot
people
of
out
these
there.
guys end up like getting married while in prison, and like, but they're serving life. So, what kind of life are you going to build with them when they're serving life?
Also, there's a lot of people out there with like low self esteem and shit like that, and they can't get anybody to talk to, and like finding out of the prison base someone who will probably like talk to me and give me all the love and attention I need from behind bars. Um, but they do have conjugal visits either way. So they go and they get the they
I
go and they get the
guess.
whatever, and because I saw a story the other day. I don't remember if it was TikTok or if it was Twitter, but and I don't want to tell. One of them was in prison for sure. Sure, one of them is in prison.
Yeah.
I don't remember if it was the guy or the girl. But long story short, they wanted to have a baby together.
Oh, I think I know
So
where this. I think I heard this
so
one
what did
too.
they do? They do their visits. Of course, they have their raw sex, and the girl got pregnant. And none of them are really thinking about the story. I think it was the girl who was in.
Are
I
you
just don't
are you
remember.
sure? Is it the same one where the guy was like passing his sperm through the air vents and she was like a turkey
Yes,
baster? Yeah, I
yes,
heard that one.
yes,
It was the girl.
yes.
She was in
That
prison
that
and she
one.
got pregnant.
And she got pregnant. And that's
Yeah.
what I'm saying. If people really and truly want to, they will, regardless of if the person is behind bars or whatever. And a
I
lot of
guess people
people,
find a way.
it's like fan fiction for them. People, I
Yeah.
think it's like fan fiction for them. And a lot of people have these fetishes and these things that they like. And by whatever means, if the dick
They will
should go
make it happen.
inside or a baby should happen, like in that case, they will make it happen. And when I saw that story, it was so crazy to me because I'm like,
It was so
damn,
crazy to me.
she wanted to have his babies like real bad, like real bad.
But then even though she's pregnant or whatever, when she does have the baby, she's not going to be around the baby because
I guess he's going to raise the baby and he take the
aren't they
baby
going to
for
take the
visit.
baby from her?
I mean, the baby's not a prisoner.
Exactly.
Well, a prisoner
So
for 9 months, but you know,
it's just
it's very
there's
bizarre.
someone out there for everyone, I guess.
It's very bizarre, and I can imagine people before social media and print media, these things probably would have been horrifying for them to hear about. But it's like in this digital era where everything is accessible through print online, like we've seen like so many different cases of craziness. It's just like,
Hmm.
well, I guess
We've
that's what
seen the
you're into.
prison
You want a prison
videos.
man. I'm not gonna lie, the little fantasy is kind of hot sometimes. Prison guard did this, or I showed up
We've
and did
seen the
this,
videos. We've
or
heard the
my
stories.
bunkmate did this. I mean, the little fantasy, it's the little story because I like my little stories, in my video sometime. Like, give me a little bad acting. Let me know how we got here.
The
Don't
acting
just
is
open
so
the
horrible
door,
sometimes.
right? Don't just open the door and all of a sudden pants are down, blows off, shirt
Uh,
off, and we start. No, let me know it's your personal trainer and you rubbed it up a little bit and then you guys started. Give me a little backstory. Give me a little backstory. And I find a lot of neuro porn these days don't have a lot of that. You have
oh
some
no,
people
it's
who
straight
try,
to it.
but they get straight to it. But when you go back and you watch your vintage stuff,
The vintage stuff, they
or
were
me,
acting,
they were
acting.
acting. Me and
Mm-hmm.
the warden, me and the boy on the farm. He
The
was,
pool, it's always
bailing
a
the
pool
haze, the pool
boy.
boy.
Mm-hmm. Or the plumber comes
The
over,
plumber comes
the
over.
electrician.
And I'm not gonna tell. It adds a little razzle dazzle. Like it lets me know
Or
why we're here. You know,
another good one was the pizza delivery
the piece.
guy.
Oh my god, them videos. If you're big
Hmm.
into porn, you know that Brazil Pizza Rio
Oh yeah.
delivery guy. Oh, that video is so hot. I've busted once, twice, maybe 100
What does that
times
say
to the
about us
video.
that we know all these things?
Them videos were it.
They were.
You know, they were. They were.
Yeah.
At them times, people really putting like thought processes into, it's a whole
It's a
production.
whole production. No, it's just like pound,
Let's
pound,
just,
pound. But let's
yeah,
move
me
on.
and this hot guy, and then we just start doing the thing. I'm just like,
And
okay,
not only that, because it's so overly saturated the market, so everybody's just trying to get their
doing the
videos out
same
as
and
fast
doing
as
the same
possible.
thing.
And it's literally the
Yeah.
same people sleeping with the same people over and over again. I mean, yet it's hot, but it's just the same faces you keep seeing.
Oh, he's in love with that toy.
Yeah.
Running up and down all about. We're talking about my cat, by the way. Like I
Did
got him
you
like
did
one
you
of
see the
them.
video I sent you with the new one that moves by itself? I want to get
Yes.
one. I'm going to get one, and I will let you know how it goes.
But the other thing,
Yeah.
well, the last thing, conspiracy theories. Now, I'm sure all of us, everyone on this planet or Earth that has access to media, have seen or heard of some conspiracy theory at
Oh
some point
yes.
in their life. And while I'm not a super, into it sort of thing, there's certain things that I've seen and like heard that, using your own rational or thought process, it just sounds like it makes sense. For example, one that has been proven, for quite some time. That we're not the only like living beings in the universe, like aliens and stuff like that, and like Area 51, like have aliens and
Mm-hmm.
all them things, and like whether it's a distraction or they've put forward these stories to say we're trying to distract the public, like people generally have the idea that we just cannot be the only things in the exhibition. There's
I've heard that
conspiracy
one a
theories
lot.
like a lot of times that aliens do actually exist. So when they had like the thing a year or two ago, like, oh, we found aliens, and the general public was just like, okay, well, whatever that means, we've been talking about this for quite you know some time. But there's a lot of them out there in different aspects, in government,
Every day a
in
new one pops
music,
up,
in
especially
Hollywood.
now.
And the biggest ones like circa 2010, 29, when we were teenagers,
The
all of the
Illuminati.
celebrities are in the Illuminati and they're
Mm-hmm.
worshiping this, and all of them always doing the IFD and Anubis signs and stuff like that.
And
And
it just always happens to be the black ones.
let me get this, and let
Always.
me say, while I'm not super into it, like it wouldn't be far fetched to say that a lot of Hollywood execs, like rich people, like government, let me not even list up all of them rich people up there that have a name. It wouldn't be that far fetched to say they have their own, like, occult
Secret
or like
society.
mailings or secret society. It's really and truly not that far fetched. Throughout history, there always have been, underground or secret societies who do things. And the one that I believe in the most is that that particular secret society controls the world, in a sense where they have one or two particular people in every particular industry, like corporations and all of those things, and they
Mm-hmm.
all come together to collectively decide, when this goes out, when that goes out. I absolutely believe that one.
Okay.
I do believe that one.
I'm not saying anything about it.
I mean, you
I'm
just looking at
listening.
me like,
No, I'm listening to you because the thing is, I don't really get into conspiracy theories that much. I hear them all the time, and a lot of them I genuinely roll my eyes at them. But
some of them I don't believe.
yeah, like some of them I don't believe. Like, and I'm not saying I wouldn't hear like the off chance I hear like a one or two like, oh, this could be plausible. I'm not saying I don't
Hmm.
think that sometimes, but it's not something that I actively like. You know, some people are like, I have an uncle in Canada where he is just obsessed with conspiracy theories, and I'm just like, sir, can you just live your life? He is on YouTube just watching conspiracy videos all the time, and it's just weird to me.
And this is this is probably one of them, because I've seen or heard like multiple people say like, they do have like, slavery. Well, not really like slavery, not the slavery that we all know.
Yeah,
But they do have like societies who, kidnap children's, or like not children's, children,
children. Yes,
children's, children.
children. No S.
That kidnap children and like, be doing all these things. And when you really think and like, adults or stuff like that, and I'm just like, millions of people disappear without a trace every year.
But look at even the movie Hostel. That movie was banned in so many European countries. But when you see, sometimes you watch movies like that, and like this shit
It
probably
kind
does
of
happen.
sound, yeah,
Yeah,
like there was a movie. What was the movie called? I watched it maybe three times as a kid because it was so interesting to me. I think it was called Shutter Island or something like this,
oh, I know that one.
where they built this island and like they make clones of people. Like
Mm-hmm.
rich people would pay large amount of money to make like, clones of people so that, they could harvest their organs once it is that that person needed, whether it's a lung or
Yeah,
heart or something, because that's what that disease or that person is suffering through. And I'm like, there's a huge black market with human organs and stuff like that. So things like that aren't really that like far
far
fetched,
fetched.
that it's actually being done. And money, as the Bible says, as much as I'm not a Christian, or whosoever said it, is the root of all evil. And with all of these, cases coming out and stuff like that, it makes it more believable, especially like with people in the music industry and these
Mm-hmm.
producers and stuff like that, that they're actually like running things like this. Like the whole Diddy situation is a huge, you know, eye opener or like confirmation that these things actually do happen behind the
Yeah,
scenes. And because these people got so much money, a lot of people are just always getting paid off to shut up,
yeah.
you
Because
know?
the more money you have is the more power you have. So,
Yeah, because
as the
money
more people
talk.
will listen to you and like keep things quiet.
Yeah, because like you paid me like $10 million like to, shut up. Like the whole thing with Cassie, that whole thing was just whoosh under the rug when a lot of people knew about it, but because he
Look
had
at
money
R.
to pay off
Kelly.
the hotel, all of them things. So it's not hard to really believe that, a lot of these things, you know, are
Can
out there
happen or will or is
or
happening.
is happening,
Yeah.
it's just covered. And the government, a lot of the governmental ones, I kind of do believe them because the governments are very, I don't know, the
It's
one
like
that's
there's this show I watch where I think it's called The Day of the Jackal. But basically, it's this dude. He's an assassin, right? And this company hired him to take out this guy who is like a billionaire, but he had this software that he was going to release that's basically going to expose other billionaires and how they're making money and all of these things. So they wanted to keep him quiet. So they got this guy to assassinate him. And the more you watch it, like every episode, like you find out something new. You realize that it's not just the three people in the room who hired the assassin to kill him. You find out that the actual because it's set in the UK, that the
hmm
actual head of the MI6 or M6 or whatever they call the CIA version of the UK, he was
hmm
also involved in the plot to hire the guy to kill him. And then once the guy got the job done, they want the detective who they also hired to catch the guy. They now wanted to silence her, to shut her up. So they basically are saying, okay, allow her to kill the assassin, and then we're going to send in a crew to kill her to tie up all loose ends. And I'm like, where does this stop? Because clearly at this point, the government is involved. So,
it make it kind of sounds similar to and I'm gonna get briefly into this whole orange man that's in the office in the US right now. um it because he was saying some shit that he wanted to declassify the JFK situation. Now
Mm-hmm.
there've been conspiracy theories about that long time ago that is the CIA who actually wanted him
Shot to
dead
kill him. Yeah.
because he was a liability to the government and all of that and blah blah blah. And there's this conspiracy theory that I saw years ago that the way that they did it tied up loose ends similar to the way you said it like that. So you have the actual hitman who killed him, but you have multiple people after behind him. So
Who
it's like
knew?
so it's like I killed you, but they hired someone else to kill me, going all the way back maybe to like 3, 4, 5 person to a trusted person who then you absolutely would not, rat them out. And they're saying that they believe that with his assassination, that's the way that they did it. You know, they tied up all the ends going all the way back to someone who, would absolutely not bust it because they had to
Yeah.
get rid of him. It
It's
sounds
not far
plausible,
fetched.
but it's not really far fetched because,
Exactly.
and the reason why I said that about this whole government thing is because watching this election unfold, not just about the whole ignorance aspect of the people that voted, it shows you a lot of thing about money and power and all of that, because right now all I'm seeing is he got 2 or 3 billionaires behind him, like 2 or 3 of the richest known, because there's a conspiracy theory too that the real rich people, like the real actual billionaires, don't put forward their wealth in the general public. They just live quiet lives. Da, 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 da.
Yeah.
But the actual ones that we know of, the Bezos and the Elon and all of them, he got them right behind his side. And what I've been seeing is that he's been making a lot of executive orders, right? Which a lot of corporations they don't have to follow, but they are following, like Target, like when he, did the one that says take away, rights,
The
discrimination and
DEI
all of that.
hires.
Yeah, so mind you not, the company or the corporation itself doesn't have to enforce it. That no one's forcing them to. But when you see all of these corporations, bootlicking, it's just like, damn, it's really it's I don't know really know why
Mm-hmm.
people think it's Democrats versus Republicans at this particular point.
It's
It's
just the
really
rich
not.
versus the
It's
poor.
the rich versus the poor.
Yep.
And the Republicans are not even really seeing this because they think, oh, these people are for us. They are not. Every
It's the
decision
rich
I've
versus the
seen
poor.
is the rich versus the poor. And it just goes back to say that, there's like huge conspiracy theory out there that it's just certain rich families or rich people that just control everything that happened in the world and puppeteer
And
when what should happen and when what should happen.
not only that, I've also been hearing it. If you make under $100,000 a year, this has nothing to do with you. This is not for you. Like everything that's being done is not to your benefit.
hmm It's literally everything that has happened has kind of just changed my perspective on the way things are going. It's literally the rich versus the poor. And
Yep.
I do not know why people are not seeing that. They care about nothing else. And
It's just lining their pockets with more money. Like we can take that
it's
with we when we
and
leave
it's
this
kind of
earth.
sad because when people talk about, oh, boycott, 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 there is no way to, because if you really look at how many stocks these few people have everywhere, everything you use, everything you have access to,
They have
it
some
all
hand
goes
in
back
it
to these
some way,
people.
somehow.
So
Yep.
when they say, oh, boycott this company, it doesn't make any sense because all the other things we use is still connected to them. It might not be their name at the forefront, like for example, like Jeff Bezos for Amazon, but there's something that trickled down into something else, some other
Mm-hmm.
service, or things that you buy, places that you go, that they're all a
Like
part
when
of.
people are like, "Oh, we're going to boycott Starbucks or the Walmart or whoever." You really think that the people who own Starbucks or Walmart, that's all they own? They don't own anything else? Okay. That's lovely.
It's a monopoly at the top.
Exactly.
And a
They
lot
own
of
many things.
exactly, and a lot of faces and people that you see down at the bottom that they're just like, a step up the ladder, not the top of the ladder at all. So whenever people say these things like, the rich control the world, I'm like, I don't even want to say that this is a conspiracy theory. This is actual reality, and we are seeing it play out right now with the way that election went, and unfortunately we have a lot of people are like, oh, we just have to endure for 4 years. Mm-mm.
It might be 8. Let's see.
Mm-mm. It's not even eight. A lot of the things and changes that you're making, it's things that are setting us back not 5, 10 years. It's like all the way back to the ages before we were
Decades.
born, decades.
Decades.
Um, and a lot of shit happened like in 2 days. Imagine what will happen in 4 years. So it's not
And you
just four
see,
years we have to endure it for.
and this is the one thing I'm going to say about this. So a friend of mine was like sending me a bunch of stuff about, and this was like day 2. So my response kept being, that's what they voted for, right? And he's going to ask me, "Oh, you don't care?" Blah blah blah. No, it's not. I don't care. But we have 4 years to go. This is just day 2. I cannot dive into this head first. This is just the second day.
What I miss, and this is the last thing I'm going to say for the reason for all of this. People, and someone made a point the other day that the generations before millennials and the generations after don't have the power of research. So they're very, very much easily like bought into like,
Continue your story. Stop.
what the
Watch
hell
me.
was that? They're very much easily like swayed.
Mm-hmm.
Um because they don't really have that much common sense. They don't know the art of researching,
Especially the
thinking for
new
themselves.
generation.
So the generations before and the generations after, and it's like it's kind of unfortunate because it's right there in front of our faces, and then crying like, "Oh my god, I didn't know that this was going to happen." I'm like, this person was walking around telling you that he's going to cut your heads off, but oh no, the prices for this, the prices for that, but you weren't listening to the other things that are more detrimental. And know that he's keeping his word. You're shocked.
Oh, yes. Which is why my response to everything is that's what they voted for. With that same laugh, because what else are we going to do at this point?
And I will never forget this comment, and bless your heart for the person who brought this to my mind. Because it really was like this before. Someone said back in the day, when people had to choose between, one party or the other, it wasn't between choosing between surviving or death. It was like you're both gonna survive, but at two different ways. So you might not agree with this one, you might not agree with that one, but now it's like one is life or death, and people chose death. So like we all gonna die.
I said this the other day at work. Whenever you're ready, Lord, it's
It's like
time. It is
we,
time.
like this man withdrew from the World Health Organization. Something like a pandemic or something like that better not happen right now. I pray that I don't even believe in God, but I pray to God something that is worldwide doesn't happen right now.
Yeah,
It is scary out here,
we'll
and
see.
it's like, for anyone listening to this, I'm sorry if you believe whatever this man is doing or you're a supporter of him. I'm sorry. People are like, oh no, you can separate politics from friendship. Yes, I can do that back home in Jamaica. Not here in the United States. Not with Trump. You Everything that man is stands up for is against. I'm black. I'm gay. There's too much. Mm-mm.
A lot going on.
We have to separate the friendship in a way where we're no longer friends.
We just have to see how it goes. That's all we can
Hmm.
do.
And
And
with
try
that
to live
said,
our lives a day at a time and hope that we survive.
hope for the best.
Yeah.
And
But
with
on
that
that
said,
delightful note,
we've come to
we've
another.
come to the end of another exhilarating episode of Shiggles. I was that guy, Rickster,
This was Darian, guys.
and we will catch you in the next one. Goodbye.
Bye.